Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready for more propaganda? Well, you're in the wrong place at the right time. Colombo Chronicles is for critical thinkers. Let's welcome the consumer advocate for justice. Here's the Rose Colombo.
Hello everyone, it's today's Rose Colombo right here for you. And we have an exciting show for you today with a fabulous guest.
The Justice Club is back on Colombo Chronicles live podcast. Join Rose Colombo at noon and find out what tips she will provide in a world of little justice.
Yes, well, we're talking about providing little tips about a little bit of justice. If you're lucky, you'll get a little bit of justice. And maybe with the holiday season, you'll get more than a little bit of justice. But you have an opportunity to purchase a message and a book as a special gift for your friends and family. It's an adventure, it's humorous, and it also has, what the critics say, is the scathing message at the end: will humanity survive?
Obamasaurus, the new book by Rose M. Colombo, is an updated version of a political satire that reflects the political roadmap of today's world. Written with an Orwellian twist. Will humanity survive or suffer depopulation or extinction? Obamasaurus by Rose M. Colombo. Available at Amazon.com.
The Justice Club is back on Colombo Chronicles live podcast. Join Rose Colombo at noon and find out what tips she will provide in a world of little justice.
Colombo Chronicles Live. Colombo is on their trail. Listen up at Colombo Chronicles Live.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to Colombo Chronicles Live. Here for you every Wednesday with very special guests. And today we do have a wonderful returning guest and his latest book, which was upcoming the last time we talked to him, but it is now launched. And it's a wonderful, entertaining, warm, and home type of book that the whole family could read and read over every Christmas. The 12 Best Secrets of Christmas. Holiday Revelations to Celebrate All Year Long. And that is a Happy Holidays book by Herbie J. Pilato. That's P like pie, Paul, Ilato. And if you hear a little raspy in my voice, it's because I'm just getting over a cold. It is that time of the year. So be sure to drink plenty of orange juice and eat lots of good old oranges and take your vitamin C and stay healthy for the holidays. Let me tell you a little bit about our guests before we talk to our guests when we enter into the wonderful world of authors and experts. Herbie J. Pilato is a writer, a producer, and TV personality whose credits include CNN's 8-part series, History of the Sitcom, The Real Channel Autopsy on Elizabeth Montgomery, Bravo's 5-part series, The 100 Greatest TV Characters, and TLC's Behind the Fame specials on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, classic TV DVD documentaries for Sony, NBC Universal, Warner Brothers, including box sets of The $6 Million Man and Chips. By the way, I did meet Eric Estrada at an event, and we took a photo. He was so nice and so polite. It was a delight to meet him. The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson and Family Ties, is part of Mr. Pilato's resume. As an actor, he's appeared on Highway to Heaven, The Golden Girls, General Hospital, and The Bold and the Beautiful. And while we're waiting for us to enter into the world of authors and experts, I'll tell you a little bit more about him in just a little bit. But first I wanted to mention that because it is the holiday season, and many people fear saying Merry Christmas, which began in 2009. I never stopped saying Merry Christmas because that's part of my religious belief. And this is the United States of America, and it's been a tradition forever until 2009. And then President Trump restored it in 2016 through January 2020. And so anyway, that was a blessing that he restored saying Merry Christmas, because many people were afraid to say Merry Christmas because of the immigrants who have come into our country and don't celebrate Christmas. Well, I say to them, we don't discriminate against their religion and their religious holidays. We allow them to celebrate their holidays in America, and we welcome them to celebrate their holidays in America. So for anyone to discriminate against Christians and Catholics and believers of all different faiths who believe that this is the birthday of Jesus and that we celebrate Christmas in America and around the world, we should always allow everyone to celebrate all holidays, which include Christmas. And I want to say to you CEOs out there who are preventing their employees, which I know firsthand from experience and also from others that is still going on today, that they are telling people not to say Merry Christmas. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that CEOs should have the authority to determine who can say Merry Christmas under the First Amendment in the United States of America, which has been a celebration since way before America was even discovered over in Europe. Good old St. Nick. So on that note, we are going to enter into the world of authors and experts with our wonderful guest, our fabulous guest, Herbie J. Pilato, right after this important message. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him. The Italian in me, more about him when we come back after this important message.
Howdy, folks. Just stopped in by my favorite restaurant, the Horseshoe Cafe. I highly recommend the home-cooked hot meals and piping hot coffee. In fact, it reminds me of my mom's home cooking when I was growing up. The customer service is excellent. Be sure to save room for the world's best desserts. Make sure you try a slice of fresh homemade pie. The Horseshoe Cafe is located at 154 East 4th Street in the heart of Benson, Arizona. The Horseshoe Cafe is right outside of Tombstone, Sierra Vista, and Tucson. Sometimes Patty and Mike stop by to welcome you. The staff at the Horseshoe Cafe looks forward to seeing you. Stop by to eat or relax. Cool down in the desert with a cold beer or your favorite cocktail. That's the Horseshoe Cafe. Oh, and don't tell anyone I told you, but some people think it's haunted. One thing is for sure. Be sure to bring your appetite.
Colombo Chronicles Live. Colombo is on their trail. Listen up and Colombo Chronicles Live.
Listen up, because now we're ready to enter into our wonderful world of authors and experts with Herbie J. Pilato, our very special returning guest. And I'm so excited because he wrote a book, and it's a warm and entertaining book about Christmas. So let me tell you a little bit more about Herbie, because I told you a little bit at the beginning. He also was involved with The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Family Ties. He's an actor. He's appeared on Highway to Heaven, The Golden Girls, General Hospital, and The Bold and the Beautiful. Today, he is a featured writer for the Television Academy and Emmys.com, serves as a contributing editor emeritus for Larry Brody's TVWriter.com, and is the host and executive producer of Then Again with Herbie J. Pilato, a classic TV talk show now streaming on Amazon Prime and Amazon Prime UK. His list of critically acclaimed pop culture books includes Dashing, Daring, and Debonair, Glamour, Gadgets, and The Girl Next Door, Twitch Upon a Star, The Bionic Book, The Kung Fu Book of Cain, and NBC and Me, My Life as a Page in a Book, among others. Pilato's upcoming new tomes include The 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, and it is not only upcoming, but it is here. It's a holiday revelations to celebrate all year long, and he's also involved with biographies of Sean Connery, University Press of Kentucky, Diana Rigg, University of Mississippi 2023, on a book about George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, and their latest films, University Press of Kentucky 2024. So we're going to ask him about these future agendas in 2023 and 2024 as well. So let's just get started, and let's welcome our special guest, Herbie J. Pilato. Hi, Herbie. Welcome to Colombo Chronicles.
Hi, Rose, and hi, everybody, and Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays, and Merry Christmas again.
That's what I say. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. Enjoy whichever one you choose, right?
Exactly. It's all about love. You know, God comes to us as we believe God to be.
Isn't that the truth? That's beautiful. I like that a lot. And so how have you been, Herbie, since the last time we talked to you? Because your book was just in the works. It wasn't launched yet, so I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited about this. I'm doing well. We did an LA book tour here for the 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, and Dean Butler, who wrote the foreword, and Jerry Hauser, who did the introduction, were there in person, along with actress Karen Richmond, who has endorsed the book, and she was hosting. So anyone who got the book in LA in person had the book signed by all those people and me, of course. So it was just wonderful. And I'm going home to Rochester, which the book is based in, of course. It's about Rochester, my growing up there. So I'm very, very, it's a very happy time for me.
Of course it is, and it's a happy time for everyone because everyone loves to read about Christmas, and most people, I should say, in America and Europe and Western civilization, and even other countries who actually celebrate our holiday, which is which is spread around the world. And so it's really exciting to have a book about Christmas that's so heartwarming. And so what made you decide to, for all of the audience that doesn't know, to write this particular book?
Well, I had long wanted to write this book. It started really in 1986, way back when, my gosh, when I wrote just some memories down that I printed out and stapled and gave away to my family that Christmas. It was called actually, I think it went from the 7 Best Secrets of Christmas to the 9 Best Secrets of Christmas. And everybody just loved it, and it was very special to me. And I thought, well, maybe one day I will publish this as a real book. And all these years later, I did, and I thought, a friend of mine, actually, a colleague, says, you really should change it to the 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, because it's so in keeping with, like the 12 Days of Christmas, that Christmas Carol. And so it finally happened, and last year I was supposed to go home for Rochester, and the year before I was supposed to go home for Rochester, and the pandemic hit, and nobody was going anywhere, and I was so disappointed. But this year, things have cleared up a little bit, and I'm now going back. So it was meant to be this year, so because the book would be published this year, and I could not go to Rochester, to celebrate its publication.
Yes, everything's for a purpose and a reason. We don't always see it, but it seems to happen that way, according to God's destinies for us, right?
That's right. That's right.
Perfect timing. It's always the perfect timing. Because
Absolutely.
just think about that for a second, Herbie. If it had come out during the pandemic, people wouldn't have been so excited about it because everything was so depressing for 2 years. But now that people are, I see more people celebrating. I see more decorations in the malls. I see more decorations on the streets, more people lighting up their homes and buying Christmas trees again. And it's such a good, warm feeling. You know, it feels like America again. And, you know, like, wow,
absolutely.
Yeah. And so it is the perfect thing.
No, it's important, you know, and this book is really about unification, if that's the right term right now, but it's this book is for everybody. And that's what I tried to do. Yes, it's my memories of growing up in Rochester in the 60s and 70s. You know, I took 12 memories and made each chapter a memory, and each chapter has a message, which is the secret of each chapter. But I universalized those messages for all people, of all cultures, of all religions. Christmas, yes, was my celebration as a Catholic and a Christian, which I'm very proud of, and that's who I am. But it's everybody's story. And all the different people that have read this book, and there's been many who are not Christian or Catholic, and they're like, Herbie, this is so similar to my life. So we're not as different as everybody thinks we are. Or as some people might think we are.
Truth? Yeah, I mean, we're all beings, and we all have feelings, and we all have personal thoughts, and most of us want to see the best for everybody and just have everybody living in peace and harmony and doing the best they can. And Christmas is also about giving, right, Herbie?
Absolutely. And I say in the book, it's one of the many secrets, but not the big 12, but it's one of the many secrets that I presented in the book is that you love the gift giver and not the gift. You know, and sometimes that's not the case. Where people just love the gift, they don't care who gave it. They just care about what they got. But really, you love the gift giver. You know, that to me that was an important lesson that I learned in my beautiful family that I had the great privilege to grow up in. Big, beautiful family.
And Herbie, can you tell us one of the stories that you think that the audience would enjoy hearing from your book? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. So I guess what you're saying, what's my favorite secret? Yeah, I'm going to go with, there's a story in the book where I talk about Mary's gift shop. And Mary's gift shop was this little store in Rochester that was about 6 blocks from where I lived. And it was a dingy little store, or at least at that time. I'm sure it was something different when it first opened years before. But in 1970, 71, I think that's when the story is, we went there. And I didn't want to go there. My mother said, Herbie, we have to buy something for Aunt Rita, who is my dear Aunt Rita. She was very blessed, very successful teacher. Her husband was a dentist. So they had everything that anybody could want. So we never knew what to get them. What do you buy someone who has everything? And my mother says, we're going to go to Mary's gift shop. I says, I don't want to go to Mary's gift shop. I want to go downtown and see the decorations and Santa Claus and all of those things. She goes, no, we're going to Mary's gift shop. And I'm like, okay, fine. So we go to Mary's gift shop. My father is waiting in the car. It was frigid air of Rochester, New York. And, you know, I'd look out through the window into him in the car with the car running, and he'd be going, hey, you know, lip syncing, how long are you people going to be? And and my mother would just say, just a minute, Herbie, because that's how we communicated. As Italians, we were very, very verbose.
That's why I'm laughing.
So we're walking around the shop, and it's like, you know, all these little knickknacks that I have no idea what they are. And there's these all kinds of sheets and cloths. It's that kind of place, very a foo-foo kind of place. And then, as I looked around, I saw Mary, and she was just this elderly, frail woman, just sitting there and smiling. And me and my mother were the only ones in the store. And I saw how important, I'm going to cry, I saw how important it was that we went there for Mary, to be her customers, you know? And my mother knew her. So this was really a double-edged goal here, you know? My mother wanted to get this perfect gift for my Aunt Rita, who had everything. And she also wanted to give Mary a sale, you know? So I'm catching up with this. Now I'm seeing the big picture. Even at, 10, 11 years old, I'm going, wait a minute. Something's going on here, something bigger than me, something bigger than anything I could have found, at a large department store downtown. So we make this sale. She buys, we buy these, or my mom buys these beautiful satin sheets that were just gorgeous, that were high quality, highfalutin, gorgeous sheets that my Aunt Rita just ultimately ended up loving. And as we made the sale, we bought the sheets. Mary made the sale, and she cashed out. My mom gave her the money. We walked out the store. We got in the car, driving away. And I turn around, and I look, as we're driving away, I turn around to Mary's dingy little sign that said, Mary's gift shop, that was falling off the side of the building. And I said to myself, wow, this is the first time I was glad we didn't go downtown.
That is a wonderful story, because so many times we don't really think about other people who are struggling in their little shops, like during the COVID situation, because people were actually concerned and asking, at least in our county and our area, asking people to please support the local stores, and because the mom and pop stores are struggling, and I think that learning that at such a young age, I think, is so important. And I think going to Catholic school, I don't know if you went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school, but they taught us a lot about that, about giving and making sure that we're not ignoring people who are hurting. And, even kids in school who were poor, believe it or not, we all wore the same uniforms, but we knew who the poor kids were. And I learned lessons as a child in Catholic school as well about the kids who didn't have very much, and how to pay attention to them too. And I think that's one of the lessons your mother was teaching you, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Well, my mother was, truly a beautiful person. She was just an amazing human being, and she worked 17 years for Kodak, and then she had me. In the 18th year, she would have got her pension, and she gave up the pension because she wanted to stay home with me and raise me. So she was just a really simple, beautiful person who lived a simple life. And our house was the house of the neighborhood, not just the family. I remember her going and collecting money for some charity. It might have been muscular dystrophy or something like that, or even just cancer. Some American Cancer, that's what it was, American Cancer Society. And maybe by the time that I went with her that one day, she got maybe $7, because there was nobody left in the neighborhood. Everybody moved out, and no one had any money anyway. But that $7 meant something. And she went out, and she went door to door. So she was just that kind of person who I was just blessed with as a mom, for a mom.
That's fantastic. And so what was your Christmas like?
Oh. Well, first of all, every day was a party, because my mother and father both had 10 brothers and sisters each. And as a result of that, there was a gazillion cousins, a gazillion relatives, and every night was a party at somebody's house. But mostly it was always, celebrated on Erie Street, which is where I grew up, in the red brick house. It's on the cover of the book. That's designed by the gorgeous and wonderful Carol Munchie, who delivered that beautiful artwork. But Christmas, I mean, you had at least 40 people for dinner in our house, and we put the table, the folding tables that would go through the front room to the dining room, and it was all connected. And we had the little kid tables, and sometimes we'd have to connect the tables all the way into the kitchen, and there was no room for anybody to do anything. I look at the pictures of the house now inside, I'm like, how the heck did all this fit in those rooms? It's crazy.
I'm laughing because my grandparents had a big family too, and we had lots of cousins and aunts and uncles and everything, and that's what we used to do in their house. And to me, their house was huge, gigantic when I was a little kid. And yet, when I drove by there a few years ago, because I wanted to show my daughters where I basically grew up, and because we lived in a house behind them for quite a while. And so I was always at Grandma's house. I was never home. So they basically raised me. And so, but the house was not as huge as it appeared when I was a little girl. And like you, I'm like, how do these people fit for dinner and, and holidays and everything else, It is kind of amazing, and everybody loved it, and everybody thought it was great, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it was weird because years and years later, shortly before my mom passed away in 2008, I had a big Thanksgiving in her apartment, and by that time, all of our relatives, most of them were passed away or moved away and moved on with their lives, and the days of Erie Street were gone. So I created like a family of neighbors for my mom so she would have that again. And sure enough, I set the table all the way from her kitchen to the living room, and it was just like the old days. So I did it again in 2008, which I thought was pretty cool. I left the turkey neck in the turkey when I cooked the turkey, but beyond that, it was a wonderful Thanksgiving.
So many stories about turkeys. People cooking turkeys and all kinds of things happen. So what did you do? You went around and invited neighbors you didn't even know? Or?
No, I made an effort. I made an effort to create a family for my mom in that apartment complex that she lived. I moved into the apartment complex as well. So I went, like the first Christmas, I just made sure to go around and introduce myself and have a flyer. I go, listen, we're going to have a party at the, the clubhouse there in the community room, which they had closed up before I got there, and I changed that. We used to have parties for everything. Tax day party. Okay, it's Friday night. We better have a party. We have a pizza party. We're gonna, whatever. So I did that. I was like the volunteer activities director for my mom's complex, and those people became my friends too. And most of them were seniors, and I loved seniors. I always did, even as a kid. So come Christmas, or come that one particular Thanksgiving, which was 13 years after my mom moved in there, we had established all these wonderful friendships, and I thought, well, it's time for me now to cook my first big dinner myself for this Thanksgiving, and it ended up being my mom's last Thanksgiving, and it was ultimately beautiful.
See, a little bit of effort and a little bit of thoughtfulness and kindness, and those are the gifts that give, and those are the gifts that are memorable and people don't forget. I mean, you can give people all sorts of material things, but if you can't give them your heart and your love and your kindness and, and make an effort for them. I mean, these are all things that are free, basically, and yet we as human beings have a problem with it. And so that's another reason I love your book, is because it brings back the old-fashioned way of life that people actually lived through, and they didn't know the difference because nobody was, except if you were very wealthy, had tons of material stuff. So people made the best of it, and they were happy. They lived more simple lives.
Absolutely. I mean, my mother and father were both, my father was a very hardworking guy. He worked for Stecker Trung in Rochester, New York, in a factory. His parents both died, or his mother died when he was very young, so he had to take over as far as be the mother to his younger siblings. He quit school, so he never was educated, but he was beautiful. And if anybody could have been a movie star, it was my dad, but he didn't have the opportunities, So anyway, my parents just always welcomed everyone at our Christmases in our home. We just loved it. It was special, and we didn't have a ton of money. We used to give the kids. We used to give like McDonald's gift certificates, and they would sell, and I think they still do, for $5 for a grouping, 50 cents a piece. Well, we used to just give 50-cent gift certificates to McDonald's, or we used to go to the Five and Dime. There was a store called Kresge's in Rochester, where we would get 3 mugs for $1 and give 1 mug to each uncle, and things like that. It was fun, and it was it was about the giving and not the gift. It was about who was giving and who was getting, and that was it. It wasn't about the elaboration. Today, people give money, gift cards, which is fine, but I still like to go shopping and buy gifts for people. One of the years after Erie Street, I got to say this, it was going back to the complex where my mom lived. There was one Christmas Eve where I, again, tried to recreate the holidays of the past of Erie Street. And so at this time it was at my apartment, and I invited my mom and her friends and all of my friends to my apartment. Most of them that night who were widows. There was one lady who lost a daughter. She heard about the party, and it was her first Christmas without her daughter. And she said to me, Herbie, she called me up. She says, Herbie, is it okay if I come to your house for Christmas Eve this year? What are you going to say to that? Of course you can come to my house. So I then realized that I got to give everybody something. I went to the dollar store. I bought them, like a $1 ornament. There were 7, 8 people, 9 people, whatever. And I bought 9 ornaments for $1 each, spent $9. And I went to Wegmans, which is a popular supermarket in Rochester, and just got some ragu sauce, and ragu is from Rochester originally, and some spaghetti, and maybe some salad, and then a couple of cream cheesecakes or something, and that was it. So then when I gave everybody that $1 ornament, you would have thought I gave them $1 million. They just were so appreciative to just spend that Christmas Eve. Everybody that night had an issue, major issue. Husband died, daughter died. One lady was recently lost her ability to walk. She came in a wheelchair. It was magical. Now, would I have been able to have that kind of party or say yes to that woman had I not had the incredible upbringing that I had on Erie Street? Probably not. Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying I would have turned out to be an evil person, but my mom and the Erie Street love that I had growing up in the 60s and 70s in Rochester, in that house, with that family, made me who I was in 2008 and who I am today, I think, which is a pretty good person. I think. I'm not a perfect person, but I wake up every day and I try to be a good person and try to do good in the world. Don't always make it, but I try.
I think you're doing a great job. And so I think we need more people to think about these things, and that's another reason I'm so happy about your book, The 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, because there are secrets to life, and everybody focuses on a material world. And yes, we all would love to have tons of money and never have to work again and never have to worry again. But what would you do with your life? I mean, seriously, what are you going to do with all that? You can't take it with. So this is another reason I'm very excited about your book, because it brings back the old traditions of what is really important. And when you make an effort like that to touch people's hearts and minds, and it's from the heart, whether you baked the cookies, whether you made them a craft, whether you went to the dollar store, whatever it was, you made the effort to make them feel important for that day. And some people never feel important. Some people are so isolated. Millions of people are isolated. Millions of people are lonely. And what you're doing is you've made more people feel important for the day, whether it was, and you left them a memory that they will not forget. And so it didn't matter that ornament would cost $1. What mattered is that somebody cared about them enough to go pick out an ornament and actually remember them on Christmas or whichever holiday it happened to be. This one was Christmas. So it's beyond just an effort. It's beyond that. And I truly believe that we need to bring more of that back, because we have so many homeless people today. And I'm very sensitive to the homeless people. And we have so many homeless people today and so many veterans on our streets. I don't get it. And so, I think that this type of a book helps people to think about those who have less than most people and being grateful for what we do have, right? I think gratitude is really important.
Gratitude is the key, to really there are a couple keys to getting your prayers answered as far as I'm concerned is, number one, be thankful for everything you've always had and everything you have, and then pray for other people. When you pray for other people and come outside of yourself, heaven will bless that unselfish heart of yours and grant you your prayers without you even asking, because your unselfish heart is praying for others. I try once a month at least, because it stopped for a while because of the pandemic, to go with my local church to Skid Row downtown and help to clothe and feed the homeless. I'm going this Sunday. And I've been doing that for about 3 years, I guess. And when I first went and to help feed and clothe the homeless, I saw, people sleeping on the ground, not even on a mattress, on the ground, and not even sometimes with a tent, just a blanket over them on the cold ground. So it amazes me that homelessness is even an issue in this country. It has to end. It's ridiculous. It's insane. But when I go to sleep at night and when I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep, I go, Lord, thank you for this warm, cozy bed that I'm sleeping in. And thank you. And please make sure that all of those who are sleeping on the cold ground somehow are comforted. And when I wake up, I say, thank you, Lord, for giving me that beautiful, warm, soft bed to sleep in as I start this new day. And please bless those who are sleeping on the ground. Somehow give them a mattress. Somehow send them some kind of savior locally who could help them. And so I just try to do what I can, and we all can do that. It doesn't take much effort. I buy new clothes when I can, and I have an awful lot of clothes that I don't wear. Just they're gone. That no longer is the case. It's the minute I have new, and sometimes I'll even buy new clothes for the homeless. But either way, I have maybe 7 pairs of slacks that I've worn for the last year. That's it. The days of flash are over. It's over. We all want to look nice. We all want to dress nice. It's great. But the excess, it's the excess that's just insane.
Yeah, it's called greed.
Yeah.
And the first time I noticed it, I hadn't been in LA for a long time, and it was probably, I don't know, it's been a long time, 15 or 20 years ago, because you just didn't see homeless people in the OC. And so we went to LA for something, and we got lost. And then I saw all these poor people sleeping on the ground in cardboard boxes, and I'm like, where are we? What is this? And they said, this is Skid Row. Is this? I said, but what are all these cardboard boxes? This is where they sleep. They make themselves cardboard houses. I'm like, in America? I mean, I was like, so just, and so, of course, eventually it came to the OC too, and all over the country now. And I was shocked to think that in the United States of America, people were sleeping in cardboard boxes. And like you said, and on the ground. And it was, I still remember that moment of awakening, and it was a God thing. And I was like, well, we have to do something about this. And so I remember proposing, unfortunately, to an unethical publisher, but I sent him a whole program for my first book that I wanted proceeds to go to building, like buying up land, and, with other people, of course, but donating money to buy land where they could build, like, mobile parks, that the people could have a place to live, but they had to maintain the park. They had to have a board. They had to make sure that they were taking care of everything, or else they would have to move out and let somebody else in. And I mean, I saw this with so much open land that even like Elon Musk is building these small homes, and I remembered that, and I was like, wow, that could have happened a long time ago, and people would have had a place to live and a place for self-esteem, place to shower. How do you get a job if you don't have a place to shower and a place and clothes to clean up in, and a place to clean yourself up, and a place to go rest and so forth? How do you possibly get a job? No one's going to hire you, right?
And let me say, too, that a lot of the homeless are not just, people who are uneducated or ill, or some of them that I've seen were former executives, who are millionaires with major jobs and families, and their lives just fell apart. Either their wife left them, or they lost their job, and they couldn't make the bills. Everything was taken away from them. And there's all kinds of homeless people from every level who have just, faced their challenges, especially in Los Angeles, where it's just insanely expensive to live. Everybody comes here to fulfill their dreams, but it's the most expensive place in the universe. So there's this stigma about the homeless that it's just uneducated, ill, ignorant, medically challenged human beings. No, they're all walks of life become homeless.
Yes, and it can happen to anybody. I knew a couple of lawyers who ended up homeless, and it can be anybody. And it just all depends. It could be a health problem. It could be a job problem. It could be any reason other than not everybody's a druggie or an alcoholic. Hard times can come on everybody. And so that's why I think if we go back to being grateful and going back to more of the traditions, like in your book, The 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, and starting to actually think about caring about not just ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves in order to help other people, of course. But when we're in a position where we can, I think it's important to do so. And even a smile, Herbie. I mean, so many people don't smile today because there's so much perilous and challenging times out there. And I mean, even giving somebody a smile or going through a drive-through and buying a bag of a hamburger and fries and giving it to someone you can see who's hungry or homeless. I mean, it could be anything, it doesn't, and, like people say, well, why are you giving to that homeless person, and I always say, you know what, don't ask how they got there. Just think, what if they're hungry or thirsty? That's all you have to care about.
Yeah.
Just give it.
And I have to say, Rose, I was homeless for 3 days, and that was the longest 3 days of my life. It was in the late 90s, and one of my trips back to Los Angeles, and I didn't have an apartment, and I didn't have the money for the apartment, and the wonderful landlord who I ultimately did rent from eventually, he had lots of buildings in Santa Monica, and he let me stay in these empty apartments for those 3 nights without any rent. And so that's where I would go in one apartment one night, one apartment another night, one apartment in the third night. But it was 3 nights of homelessness, really. I mean, I wasn't on the street, but I didn't have a home, and it was horrible. And that was just 3 days living in somebody else's apartment, even though it was empty. So I tasted it just a little bit. And after that third day, I remember doing what you just said. I bought a sandwich for a homeless person, on like the 4th day or whatever. So yes, it's people just don't get it because they have so much. We are such a blessed country, and we have access to so many wonderful things that we just want to keep it to ourselves, and we don't want to think about what else is going on in the world. But when you do that, you have to say, that could be me. There for the grace of God go I, or whatever that phrase is, the term. You have to think about, you have to be concerned with other people. God will not abandon you if you do that, So there's just, we could go on and on about the homeless. But it's all about being kind, making simple choices, being sweet. I have, my Facebook page. I try not to have too many opinions. I try not to create division. I try to take the high road and post only positive things, and talk about only positive things. So where does that all come from? Erie Street and my parents. It all comes back to Erie Street and my upbringing.
Yes, I believe that because our childhood is something that's rooted deep in us, and we are part of our environment that we grew up in, and the values that are laid in our minds and set in our minds. And I always think, about the story of Jesus, though, because Jesus, Mary and Joseph, they were homeless when they had baby Jesus. Look at all the people that turned them away. And Jesus was born in a manger, and he was homeless. He didn't have a home. They didn't have a home. So he was born in a manger among animals, and then the 3 wise men came, and the angel, and so forth. But basically, they were homeless. They had nowhere to go. And look how many people turned them down. And then knowing that Mary was going to have a baby in the middle of the night, she has to have a baby in a manger. So, I mean, I think there's a message there for everybody to remember, that a king was born homeless in a manger and wrapped in swaddling.
It's about the humility. That's right. It's about the humility. And, on the front cover of my book, which, again, was done by Carol Munche, I have the Star of David over Erie Street. Everything, when you see the book and when you get the book, hopefully, when you read it, you'll see that everything that is written inside is somehow tied to an image on the front cover. So it's not just a picture, a pretty picture. Every part of this picture definitely tells the story that's inside the book.
Is the little boy you?
The little boy me. It is me. And if you see, I'm standing next to the signature angel in the snow there. That's me getting up after I make the angel in the snow. And there's a whole story or a reference about making angels in the snow in the book. There's the Christmas cards in the mailbox. That's the black mailboxes that are in between the two doorways. There's Rudolph to the left on the top. I talk about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer inside the book. There's Santa in the upper corner. See, my Aunt Alva and Uncle Carl and Cousin Evie lived on the left at 33 Erie Street, and me, my sister, and my parents lived at 35 Erie Street. It's a double house. And one of the cool things about Dean Butler and Jerry Hauser writing the foreword and the introduction is that the subtitle of the book is A Treasure House of December Memories Revealed. Well, Dean Butler was on Little House on the Prairie, and Jerry's name, Hauser. So I think it's really cool that somehow House is related to both of them, as this book is A Treasure House of December Memories Revealed.
Wow, that's really cool. I like all of the analogies that are going on with the cover and the meanings behind it. I see it looks like there's a Christmas tree in the window too.
There's a Christmas tree on our side, which is the right side, but there's two Christmas trees on the left side, and there's a story about that inside the book as well. So again, everything, even the bells in the window, that image ties into something in the book.
So every chapter has a secret, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so we just have to read and search for the secret.
Yes. And you know what? I look at this book as a cross between life's little instruction book and everything I know I learned in kindergarten with a Christmas twist. That's really what it is. It's Christmas's life's little instruction book, or the life's little instruction book of Christmas. That's really the objective when I thought about what I wanted this book to be. And so who knows? You know, I'm thinking 12 Best Secrets of Summer, 13 Best Secrets of Halloween. We'll see, because I got memories for each of those holidays, so we'll see where it goes.
That's fantastic. And why don't you tell us quickly, what about this biography of Sean Connery, and then Diana Rigg, and then there's George Lucas and Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
Are you working on those?
Yes, I just finished the Sean Connery book. We switched. Actually, I switched publishers. But that will be out next fall, hopefully, for the 40th anniversary of the Never Say Never Again, which was Sean's last Bond movie. I tried to everything that Sean did beyond Bond was still somehow connected to James Bond. He wanted to get away from it, but he couldn't. You know, and he gave a little piece of Bond in everything he did. He was James Bond the best. And then Diana Rigg, you know, who was just an amazing human being, she was an advocate for women's rights long before women's liberation. She advocated for equal pay on The Avengers, which is the original Avengers TV show, not the movies of Marvel, but the original Avengers TV show. And then George Lucas and Spielberg, and I'm going to be focusing just on like their classic films that they did together. But next fall or next spring, I have a book called Retroactive Television, an in-depth perspective of TV social circuitry, which is going to examine the positive effect of classic TV shows on society. And that's coming out in the spring with Headline Books.
That's fantastic, but I do have a question for you.
Yes.
When do you sleep?
I don't. I don't. I guess I don't, because I don't remember sleeping. I just remember working and writing and living.
I've been writing books, too. You know, I have Obamasaurus came out, which is political satire. And then I have Is America Under Martial Law? And then theming is dressing up and dressing down, which you would love because it's about the fashion world. And I think you'll love that one. And it's about, how we dress up for concerts, but we dress down for church. How we dress up.
And how about when people used to get dressed up for the holidays? We don't do that anymore. I mean, at Christmas time, everybody used to get dressed up. So I really encourage everybody, get dressed up. Lose that grunge look. Forget the jeans. Get dressed up at Christmas. And
Thank you. And we, I'm going to send you a copy of that book because you'll love it. And but it won't be out till January. So. And I designed the cover. It's beautiful, Herbie.
Oh,
so
gorgeous.
I'm excited
Wonderful.
about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So anyway, Herbie, now that we've come, unfortunately, to the end of this wonderful interview, I need you to tell our audience where they can, if you have a website, and also where they can purchase your book.
The book is available along with all my others on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And if you'd like a personally signed copy, you can just contact me through HerbieJPilato.com or through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter. I'm available on all of those social media platforms.
Fantastic. And so what are you going to be doing for the holidays, Herbie?
I'm going home to Rochester, which I'm very, very, very excited about. We're going to be doing a book signing there at the Pittsburgh Barnes & Noble on December 20th, and we're going to have wonderful local performers. Thomas Warfield, who is a genius singer, dancer, an amazing human being, performance artist. He's going to be performing There's Always Tomorrow he's going to be performing Christmas Time Is Here from a Charlie Brown Christmas. And Gabe Pellegrino, another musical performer, is going to do There's Always Tomorrow from Rudolph. And Steve Lyons is going to take us, is going to close the show, which is really what it is. It's more than a book signing. It's a show with Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. So, and Dinah Pilatus, who's a local anchor and TV personality, she's going to be hosting along with Marty Casper, who's a radio personality. So it's going to be a big party.
That sounds exactly like something Herbie J. Pilato will have a ball at and be very successful at, and wish I could be there, but that isn't going to happen this time. But I wish you so much success and so much joy with your holiday and much success with your book, which I'm sure it will be a big success. The 12 Best Secrets of Christmas, Holiday Revelations to Celebrate All Year Long. God bless you, Herbie, and we'll talk to you again in probably 2023. So Happy New Year, too.
Thank you so much for having me on, Rose. And again, everybody, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And love, love, love. That's the key word.
And love back to you, Herbie. Bye-bye.
Okay. See you later.
Herbie J. Pilato has left the building, and, it's all about giving and caring and sharing, and that's what the holiday season's all about, being with people you care about, and even some people you don't care about, I guess, but you should learn to care about them, I guess. So, anyway, if you're looking for a wonderful gift, and you want to open up the eyes of your friends and family, this is the book for you.
Obamasaurus, the new book by Rose M. Colombo, is an updated version of a political satire that reflects the political roadmap of today's world, written with an Orwellian twist. Will humanity survive or suffer depopulation or extinction? Obamasaurus by Rose M. Colombo, available at Amazon.com.
Well, my friends, time flies. And now is the time to say goodbye. Thanks so much for being part of the Colombo Chronicles family. You are appreciated. Please do it now. Bookmark. Push that like, share, and follow button. Oh, and don't forget to comment below and stay in touch. Make your family part of the Colombo family. Until next Wednesday at noon, remember, God loves you, and so does the Rose.